Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors. Well, I don't really know the end of the score, or what it will end up being, but it's currently 111-71, Riker. I have the game on in the background. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Ben. We're seldom at a loss for words, but when they play this bad, there's not a lot to say. I don't know. Ben, this is one you gotta be a really loyal fan to get through all the way till the end. It just hurts. It hits home.
I don't even know how to... Went into this looking forward to the Pascal Siakam, Jason Tatum matchup. We just got a massacre of Pascal Siakam in that one-on-one matchup tonight. Siakam just couldn't get his game going. Again, a bunch of turnovers, missed shots, being lethargic out there on the court. It looks like he's playing a scrimmage while Tatum was in a polished sort of state of mind, playing that game, hitting step-back threes, hitting long contested jumpers, going to the rim. This was a really disappointing matchup, and specifically that area on top of this just horrible completeness of the game.
People weren't thrilled, Ben, that we spent a little bit of time on Pascal Siakam and specifically criticizing Pascal Siakam after last game's 7-turnover output. And I can't remember the specific arguments, but it's not boding well for him right now. And there was a little bit of forgiveness in the first half, Ben. To me, it seemed like the Celtics defense wasn't stifling the Raptors' performance. They were just missing easy shots, and they were being tentative. They weren't taking inside the paint. Boston is not a physically opposing team. They don't have any bigs that should match up with the size of Siakam or Gasol. And if they're going to double Siakam, give it to Gasol. Tice should not be able to match him one-on-one down in the paint, but they weren't taking those shots. Right? That was the story of the first half. The second half, it's still ongoing right now as we record. But the second half, it all fell apart. The defense of the Celtics looked good. The offense of the Celtics looked good. And the Raptors, they sucked. They were hot trash, man. I don't know what happened there in the second half.
Yeah, no, it was just a really weird game. We started off, because the Raptors usually, when they get in that mid-post area, they're usually really aggressive going to the rim, especially Siakam. He sort of starts bodying someone, because he has the size advantage over a guy like Jaylen Brown, who was guarding him for most of this game, and usually when that happens, he just drives him in the post, does a little spin, and gets right to the rim, but when Siakam was just literally taking a couple dribbles, stopping, and then either shooting a really weird fadeaway or just straight up passing it out to the other team. It didn't make any sense at all, just seeing what he was doing down the post. And you brought it up. We talked about this on multiple pods, and people are kind of getting frustrated with us because obviously, and we both of us think Siakam will bounce back, and we could probably talk about that more later, but in these games right now, and maybe it's because we pretty well have the second seed secured, but we still have to win at least one of these next games coming up, but it looks like we're running a scrim out there with a lot of our main guys. Lowry and Fred have brought the energy all game in all the games, but Siakam's just kind of jogging up the court, not really looking engaged, going one-on-one, just playing like pickup basketball. I don't really get this sort of energy. Hopefully it doesn't continue throughout the postseason, and the turnovers, the decision making, it's just not a good look for this Raptors team. And I think that rubbed off, especially in the first half, on the rest of the guys. Everyone seemed to make these just sort of half takes to the rim, would stop right in the middle of the key. We saw Rondé just throw it to the Boston Celtics in the post. That didn't make any sense. TD got an offensive rebound, and instead of going back up with it or dribbling out, he straight up just passed it to Jason Tatum. I don't know what happened on these possessions. It was just a horrible game of basketball to watch, Riker.
Yeah, to me it's not energy, Ben. It's not about energy. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson is not our primary ball handler. He's not a facilitator. We praised him last game, but he's a hustle guy. He's hustle Jefferson. He's not. He's doing too much, and that's what the comment that I made last game. But to me, it's not energy. It's mentality, because you have Marc Gasol passing out of paint touches. Again, nobody as tall or as long as Marc Gasol out there on the court, and if he's not doubling when he touches the paint, a shot should go up. That's just a fact. Pascal Siakam, if he's getting doubled, sure, pass out. But when you get deep post position, shoot over Jaylen Brown. Shoot over Jason Tatum, right? Yeah, okay, maybe they're going to double you out towards the wing or deep baseline, but when you're in the paint and you have that size over any of the defenders on the Celtics and you're passing out, to me that's inexcusable, right? The only guys that were actually shooting when they got in the key tonight that we saw, again, the game wasn't even over when we started podcasting because they were down by 40
Johnson
points.
just made an and one, Riker. It's a good
Stanley
look.
Johnson? Well, that'll tell you. Listen, it was our guards. It was our 6-footers. And this is probably the smallest team that the Raptors would face in the Eastern Conference. Right? In the whole Eastern Conference. In the playoffs. The smallest team. And it was the most tentative they played all preseason and resume season. All bubble. All bubble season. Whatever you want to call that, Ben.
All bubble season. And I guess the thing we got to bring up, because we've had some, obviously every season teams have some really big duds, and this was definitely probably one of the biggest ones this year that I can remember. But we had one game against the Nuggets halfway through the season back in February, and Christmas Day against the Celtics. But Riker, I want to throw this at you. Is it the Boston Celtics that are sort of doing this to us and making these horrible games? Because everyone remembers that game on Christmas. We were so amped up for it, and we just played. We dropped a dud like this. It was very similar to this game here tonight. Is it the Celtics sort of defensive style? Because I don't really see that making sense. Because as you mentioned, they're a smaller team. They're solid defensively, but usually the Raptors are pretty solid against these types of schemes, these types of players, the long athletic wings, because we bully them down low. Or is it just bad luck we've had against the Celtics twice, and they've gotten the benefit of those games? Because we did absolutely destroy the Celtics in the game right after Christmas, and I think it makes sense that we would when you look at the matchups on paper. But do you think we have an issue with the Celtics and we play, they're just a bad matchup for us, or do you think that's not really something we should worry about right now?
No, they're a fun matchup. They match up well. They match up well against the Raptors. They don't have the size, but the Raptors don't play in the post. None of our bigs. Siakam is no longer a post scorer. He takes over 75% of his shots are jump shots. I think over 80% of Marc Gasol's shots are jump shots. Serge Ibaka, we know he lives at the elbow in the three-point line. Sometimes he'll take those hooks if he gets the offensive rebound. But for the most part, our bigs are not inside scoring bigs. So for the Boston Celtics that play small ball, and they're going to allow a lot of threes, and the Raptors just missed threes tonight. I think that type of defense, you got to be on to play against them. And so it's not that maybe they have their ticket a little bit, maybe they're in their headspace, but I think that it would make a fun series, which is still what I'm hoping for. But I don't think any team has the particular advantage unless the Raptors decide to start banging bodies down low, and in which case they would have the clear advantage because they have the size, and the physicality over the Boston Celtics, and they match up well in three-point shooting and offense and guards and everything else to boot. But the inside scoring ability, if the Raptors really tried, they would have the edge. They're just tonight they didn't play like it. They didn't want to show that hand, I guess.
Well, one guy playing like it right now is Stanley Johnson, who just made another great finish at the rim. So shout out Stanley Johnson. But to build off everything you just said, I completely agree. And it's shown it's kind of possible from this game. We see guys like Lowry and Fred going into the rim against the Boston Celtics. They don't have any shot blockers, right? Obviously, Lowry and Fred both being just over 6 foot, they're going to get their shot blocked occasionally, and they did have some tough misses at the rim. But you can get inside on this Boston Celtics team, and we should really see guys like OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam try to take over these games, and with their drives, as rather than just stepping back behind the three-point line, long mids, these fadeaways that Siakam was throwing up, and really try to drive and get their game going early. And I don't understand why we don't do that. That's what happened, and when we play well against the Celtics, that's usually the strategy that we run. But it's tough to see. I guess before we swing into the segments, OG Anunoby, he's a guy I kind of want to talk about. How come he's not getting any shots, Riker?
I don't know. I wish I could add more to that, but I don't know. So I'll ask you the same question, Ben.
He started off the game, he had a really nice drive, clean drive, slashing, because usually the issue with OG's drives, it's not the finishing, it's the ball handling. He gets his pocket picked or whatever. But I think in the first 2 possessions, he had a gorgeous drive, just ended up missing the layup, which is unfortunate. But then after he missed that layup, the Raptors just did not go back to him seemingly for the whole first half, it felt like. And then, he got one three-point shot taken in the beginning of the second half, and then I felt like he didn't get any more shots the rest of the game. Obviously, I don't have the box score up in front of me to see how many shots he specifically got, but I noticed in the Orlando game too, OG's been playing really well when there's been when he's been making drives, and maybe it's a lack of assertiveness on his part, or maybe the Raptors, Nick Nurse should make it more of a focal point to take advantage of OG's newfound handles and obviously his solid finishing and his great athleticism. I don't know. I think a key in this sort of game I would have loved to see OG be more aggressive and get the ball more.
Yeah, well, he only took 4 shots so far. Gasol 6 shots, Sky Lowry 6 shots, and then Pascal Siakam again all so fars. Although the game's about over, 45 seconds left. Fred VanVleet 4 for 14, Pascal Siakam 5 for 15, Norman Powell 4 for 11, Serge Ibaka 1 for 9. Those are brutal box scores. So I don't really want to bag on anyone tonight. I just want to hate on the Raptors a little bit, and I'm gonna save it for my gold star. But Ben, if you have anything else before you want to swing it to the segments, feel free.
Let's swing into the segment. Let's. I guess we got to give credit to the Celtics. They didn't play good in the first half. The first half, the Celtics were bad. It was all Raptors just being trash. But in the second half, the Celtics just amped it up, and the Raptors couldn't. We came out on a little run to start off the half, and it looked pretty exciting there. Stevens calls a timeout, and then right from that point, it was over. It was over. We started doing this podcast. The Raptors were down by 40. Looks like they made a little bit of a comeback, but obviously still not close. Just an unfortunate game all around, but let's try and take some positives away from this. Ryker, the spicy Pele of the day, do you have one in mind?
Yeah, Daniel Tice, he hit 2 threes in the corner that really, I felt, put the Raptors away. If the Raptors had to have done something like that, just to snuff a run or, I don't know, just to get some momentum going, that would have been fantastic. I know we have guys like OG, like you brought up, they have the potential to hit threes in the corner just like that, but instead it's 33% shooting from behind the arc, big man on the Celtics, Daniel Tice, that had to do it, so I'm giving him my spicy Pele.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you have to give the spicy Peles to their team. Jaylen Brown had some really nice passes too. Like I hate the Celtics, but you gotta give credit where credit's due. Jaylen Brown had like a full court pass through 3 defenders. It was really nice. Tatum was just hitting some wild shots. I don't know.
He had 2 really nice runners, and I thought,
yeah,
Pascal Siakam should hit runners like that.
He does usually when he drives.
When he's tonight, 5 for 15.
Yeah, when he's aggressive, right? But not tonight. Not the look from Pascal Siakam. Not the look from the Raptors.
Month.
But not all plays could be the spicy Pele of the day, especially if you're the Toronto Raptors tonight, because there wasn't any spicy Peles of the day for the Raptors. And a lot of them make you say OGs, and I feel like there's a lot of OGs plays of the game tonight, Ryker.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm just going to go back to my spicy Pele is also my OGs. We're getting buried. We're getting buried by 2 in a row. Tice, corner threes.
From Tice.
Yeah,
Daniel
this is
Tice.
Right? He's a 33% three-point shooter. He's their big man. He's pretty useless. He doesn't have any particular athleticism or height compared to our big man or any of the other players on the Toronto Raptors. And yet he's the guy putting the nail in the coffin. I don't know what was happening out there.
Yeah, he's got some weird-looking tattoos as well. Looks like one of those random skeets you'd see down on George Street or whatever, but yeah, not a good look to see Daniel Tice do that sort of stuff. We didn't award any spicy Peles for the Raptors, but we'll definitely, I'm gonna throw some OGs ones for the Raps. Pascal Siakam going in, he made the thing about this game. He make one shot, kind of get your hopes up, and then he'd just start dribbling into traffic and then throw the ball at the rim and get really frustrated when it didn't work out, and then usually foul on the other side of the court. That happened about twice in this game. The Raptors were on a little bit of a run after the second half. It looked like we were going to look good, break it to single digits, and then Fred VanVleet just sort of misses a fast break layup with a couple defenders there, and that killed the momentum. I think Brown came back and hit a 3. They went on an 8-0 run, so that was unfortunate. Gordon Hayward coming in and just twice slapping once Norman Powell and secondly Serge Ibaka straight in the eye. Serge ended up getting taken out of this game. Maybe it was an excuse for him to leave, but not a lot of positives. A lot of OGs, no positive OGs in this one. But finally, the infamous, the one, the only Damari Carroll Gold Star Award. Take it away, sir.
The Raptors, the Toronto Raptors, and the reason that they're getting this award is not because of their performance tonight, as it stands. If it was just one game, we're usually a little more optimistic on this. But what cuts so deep, Ben, what cuts the deepest wound of all is that finally the Raptors were getting recognition across all platforms. ESPN, First Take, everybody. They universally accepted the Raptors as being the best performing team, along with the Phoenix Suns, in this bubble so far. And then to go out and suffer the worst loss, probably, in this regular season restart to date, is they're not going to be talked about again. And that's not the worst thing. We're used to that. But it just stings. It stings. Finally get that recognition and to just stoop so low. Like at least.
Yeah, like a close game, you know? No, it was tough. Let's hope we can beat the Bucks now in these coming games. I'm not sure when we play them, but we got the Grizzlies now the weekend. I think we play the Bucks after that. So definitely some fun stuff coming up. Not some fun stuff today, though. So you're the best for making it this far. We really appreciate you checking out this podcast with the sad tone we sort of have going on. But you're the best to make this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. Riker, any last words?
No. None whatsoever, Ben. Cheers.
Depression and obsession.
Oh, gosh.
Tough.